Welcome to a brand new season of TVGP's Critical Misses. I'm your host, Boston, and joining me as always is Moonpier.
Hello.
And it's Halloween time, so we're going to watch some spooky stuff. Some of that spooky business. Gonna check some of
Uh-huh.
that out. If you want to hear the full tale of how we could reach this season's theme, you can check us out at e1m1.cash.
The ones and numbers.
You can check that out. $5 a month tier is the one you'll need for the production meeting, and that gets you a whole bunch of other great stuff over there. Check the page over there. But we thought, hey, it's Halloween time. We should probably watch. We had a thought
Spoopy.
a while ago of let's watch something and another VHS movie. Like maybe we could start
Uh-huh.
thinking about making a VHS anthology, one of the maybe spooky two-fer, maybe spooky three-fer if we have a little bit extra time, and then thought, well, why don't we watch an older anthology as well? Let's do
Uh-huh.
an anthology two-fer. So we're gonna watch 1972's Tales from the Crypt, a movie that as I've been thinking about today, what to come in here and talk about. Pretty excited about watching this one. How are you feeling about this anthology?
Well, it all started with the fact that I have never seen a single Tales thing in my life.
Hmm.
Like I know, was it a TV show over here for a while?
I think it was on HBO or Cinemax. I think it was very much like an anthology TV show, if I remember correctly. But it was in the early '90s, I think. I'll look.
Yeah, and I've never. I know it was big and popular, especially with the alternative crowd.
Hmm.
Um, I've never seen anything. Never seen any of the
1989.
show. About the only thing I know of this is the guy.
Yeah, the Crypt Keeper.
Yes.
Tales from the Crypt ran from June 10th, 1989 to July 19th, 1996 on HBO with 93 episodes. Dang.
Almost long enough to get syndicated.
Almost. Yeah,
7 episodes shy.
there you go. But yeah, I feel like that's been the kind of long-standing thing was the Crypt Keeper and him sort of introing gruesome tales of horror. Uh,
Yes. I know it was I know it is very big and very famous. But I literally couldn't tell you if because I'm pretty sure the Gremlin on the Wing is the Twilight Zone thing.
that's correct. That's the first Twilight Zone episode, if I remember correctly.
I don't know because I've not seen any of the Twilight Zone either.
That's a good time. I've heard the most recent Twilight Zone show was actually really good too, but I haven't
Yeah,
seen
because
that.
I believe that's a Jordan Peele joint too.
Yes,
So,
chances are good it was going to
uh,
be good.
or at least produced by Jordan Peele.
Right, right.
Um, hmm.
Well, and Tales from the Crypt was always a comic series before, I believe, before this movie, because I think a number of the shorts in this film are based on the original comic books. Um, so I don't know really the legacy of the comics themselves and
Yeah,
like how alternative they were or kind of how mainstream they were or not, but that's the kind of lineage that I remember.
I can't help but wonder if this is very much similar to the Dread thing, where
Was just gonna say, yeah.
it's super famous for the right crowds as being one particular form of media,
Hmm.
and then nobody else really knows about it until Sylvester Stallone makes a movie about it.
Right, right.
He's not in this, is he?
This is a British production, so I'm gonna assume not.
I mean, I hope not.
Chances are not good. Let's put it that way.
Uh-huh.
Um, I'm really excited to watch this. For a couple reasons. One is I love seeing practical horror effects from the 70s and the 80s of just real like squishy, gross practical
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Seeing the Crypt Keeper be a puppet, like I want that kind of like that real like we need something gross and we're just gonna figure out how to make it happen. I really like
Yeah.
that kind of style, but I also
You've seen The Thing, right?
not all of it. That's a future season for sure.
Okay.
Um,
I was just curious because that's the quintessential uh physical effects
right.
thing.
The other thing that I'm interested in for this, I remember for our listeners, I really liked the anthology stuff from the first VHS movie. I liked that kind of like focused and short, effective horror stuff that the first VHS anthology I thought really nailed. And I want to
Mm-hmm.
see for us going back to something from the 70s, how much of this movie's DNA or like how it does its anthology or how it does its short horror, how much of that is
Can we see in
reflected in
VHS?
VHS 1 and then
Mm-hmm.
next episode VHS 2. So I'm kind of curious to see how much of the, to be gross, connective tissue connects the two anthology films, across decades of film stuff, or is this the sort of thing where like the other thing I'm curious about too is watching this and like, can you feel the ripple effects of something like this on the rest of horror filmmaking, just like you can do with like Night of the Living Dead, where it's like, oh, I've seen 30 movies that took this specific shot over the next 40 years. Is there something like that where I'm like, oh, that's where that
Yes, the
shot comes
the the
from?
the Jaws dolly zoom.
Exactly. Or like one of the anthology films, is it like, oh, I've seen someone do a riff on this 15
Mm-hmm.
different times across like books and movies, and a Simpsons episode did it, and like the you know
Oh, I guarantee we'll get some Simpsons references
for
from in
sure.
here,
A-
probably.
and like that's why I'm kind of curious about going back to this movie, is sort of like where is the genesis of probably 30 or 40 different references that we've seen
Uh, this
before.
is a this is a UK production, so it was the Mega Drive of the
That's
references,
that's
please
right.
and thank you.
That's right. The Mega Drive, the ZX Spectrum of the references here for the for the uh for the film industry. But like that's why I'm so excited to go back to see this. Is like I love 70s practical effects, but I also want to see, where is the Mega Drive of the kind of horror genre in the anthology genre. I'm sure there were anthology films before this, but when we were looking for the production meeting, it seems like this is kind of the first big horror anthology of like, oh, okay, they're just short
Hmm.
films in this big film. Okay, cool. So yeah, I'm uh I'm pretty excited about this, but going into it, I don't know anything about it. I have no idea anything
Yep,
anything about what
same.
is going to go on. I think we already talked about the thing that I've seen. I definitely saw some Tales from the Crypt on HBO at my best friend Nick's house when we were having sleepovers growing up, because it was like on in the middle of the night, and it was definitely something we shouldn't have been watching, and we were definitely watching it too
Hmm.
early. And the Crypt Keeper is like
Yeah,
a very
it's
striking character.
yeah, that's the reason I watched Akira and Ghost in the
Exactly.
Shell because they were on Channel 5 at 3 in the morning. So I was
Right.
like, yep, I'll watch them at 12. Why
That's right.
not?
That's right. These got to be good, right? Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what um this is, and how if any way other than the Crypt Keeper telling stories, telling tales, how do they connect the films. I don't have high hopes. I don't think there's going to be something like VHS where they have kind of an overarching narrative connecting
A
them.
theme or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, other than the Crypt Keeper being like, and here's another terrible story that's going to influence ICP in about 20 years. beyond beyond that.
So what was your favorite VHS one part? I'm not suggesting we do a ranking of
No,
segments.
no. I'm
Yet.
so my that's right. My favorite one is probably the one that scared me the most. It's the okay. I'm not gonna say which one my favorite one is. I'm gonna say the one I remember the most, which is the Zoom call one, the like Skype call one, where the
Okay, the alien.
that's the one I remember the most of. Just like, what was yours?
For
that
me,
you remember?
it's crazy bat lady with wings.
Oh, the first one. That one's so good. Seeing her face change from like camera swivel to another is just like, wait a sec, wait a
Yeah,
sec.
and the fact that it ends with like claws on shoulders and then a camera falling out of the sky.
Ah, it's so good. That one's great. Man. That's a hell of a way to open that movie. Man. Jeez. Yeah. All right, well, any of additional thoughts here before we head into the 70s?
Nope. Looking forward to it. Well, looking forward to the media, not going back to the 70s.
That's true. That's true. All right, let's go watch the film.
Yup.
All right, we have returned. We are back from 5 spooky tales of scariness. Terrifying tales from the crypt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which were not what I expected, but the host to look like. We'll say that first and foremost.
Yeah, the crypt keeper looking a lot more alive than usual, let's say. Yeah. I do like that the film starts with literally the most stereotypical Halloween song ever, that Bach piece. Just like, okay, we're we're doing it immediately. Okay, sure.
I was actually curious if this movie is the reason that is the Halloween song.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, did it predate this, or was this like, okay, now it's time for scary stuff. Let's bring out the organ. We do get a little bit of kind of connective stuff here, where they're looking at old English countryside catacombs, and 5 people get off of the path when they're looking for the brooch, and oh no, what's this room we found? It has this skull in it. Let's go on in. And that's where the mysterious crypt keeper is telling them a tale, sort of going around the room.
Yes. Also, for the record, this was not the origin point of that music.
Okay.
But it's become a soundtrack for spooky moments used in the 1931 film Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the 1934 Edgar Allan Poe-inspired film The Black Cat, a 1962 adaptation of The Phantom of the Opera, and a lot more.
Gotcha. Okay, so decades earlier was kind of get ready for the spooky stuff. Interesting.
Yes.
We do start with our first short of the anthology here, and All Through the House. Probably.
Yeah, and like,
go ahead.
Like, I'm very annoyed by the fact that they don't. I can't remember if VHS did this, but I want a title card.
Yeah, I do too.
Tell me the name of the story. Like,
yeah,
like tell me the name of the tale.
Even if it's like on a Christmas card underneath something, like it's the cover of the Christmas card that he writes the loving note in. You know, like even kind of hide it a little bit, but. I agree. Like there needs to be a little bit something there. This is probably my least favorite one out of all of them, because it's
kind second least favorite for me.
Okay, it's kind of boring. I like the.
It's very tense. A lot of this like this what's the word? Anthology. That's the word. Jeez, I'm tired. A lot of this anthology is mostly suspense. There's not a
Yes.
whole lot of horror in here.
Yeah, that was going to be what I was going to say here at the ending, is like, this is kind of the thesis statement, I think, for this whole anthology of just like, it's not, these aren't slasher films. These aren't jump scares. These aren't body horror things. It really is this kind of tense sort of thing. And I think that almost works in this one for me. I like the constant droning of the Christmas music in the background.
Yep.
I think that is pretty good. I really love how the blood looks, especially in this one, of just like, oh, that's just not.
It's just red paint.
Yeah, it's just
throughout
red
the entirety of the entire movie.
Yeah, which is like, it's fine. You know, like, I'm not gonna judge a movie from '72 for it, but it is very bright.
I mean, yeah, it's not Dexter, you know.
Exactly,
where it's all about the blood.
I do like that this short features the most patient Christmas related child on the entire planet, of just like, no, you need to stay in your room, and this lady is just banging this corpse around this house, like pinballing it off of everything, and the kid's just like, well, that's none of my business. I'm just gonna hang out here in the room. It's like, no, that's not gonna happen. And I think the stuff with her killing and like cleaning up after killing her husband isn't that good, but I think the hunting of Santa outside is actually pretty good.
Yes, that is where the tension in this one really jumps up a notch, but it does tickle me so much that, like, the guy shows up at the door. So she locks the door, she starts to lock the windows and stuff, and then she goes to call the cops.
This is one of my favorite parts in this one, yeah.
Like, she's dialed 2 nines, so for those of you who don't know, 911 in England, 999.
Right.
That's the difference. She got a big old rotary phone, so you got to wait that long beat before you get to the second 9. She dials 2 nines, and then she looks up and is like, "Oh no, there's a dead body." Like,
all right, I killed my husband. Crap.
In my hall. I think minor revelation later, but I think the thing that really struck out to me is it's this whole anthology starting off with this one is like, oh, it's the evil that men do, men in a
humanity
people.
standpoint.
It's the evil that people do.
Right.
That's the thing that this is going to be about. It's not going to be about monsters or anything like that. It's going to be about really bad decisions that people make because they're just really crappy people.
Well, and I thought it was going to be after this one, when it switches back to the chamber that they're in. I thought this one was going to be, the whole movie was going to be, this is your opportunity to turn your life around. Like, this is the thing you're going to do when you leave from, or you're planning to do when you leave from here.
That's what it implies.
Right. And I was just like, okay, that's interesting. It's a cautionary tale of all these, which we'll get to the ending.
Do you know why we should have known that was a lie? Because she's wearing the brooch that she got from the Christmas present.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
When she's in the catacombs, the brooch that she drops.
Right, that's the one she loses.
That's the Christmas gift that she gets. So that's a big old flag, right? Because that's why I was thinking, like after this one finished, I was like, this makes no sense. Because she's wearing the brooch.
It's clearly after.
She got for Christmas.
Right.
From the husband that she's just killed.
Right.
And then when you get to the end, it's like, okay, yeah, there you go. There's the reveal. Also, Joan Collins, by the way.
Yeah. Killing it.
Famous British actress Joan Collins.
Yeah.
Dame Joan Collins.
That's right.
To give her correct title.
I think the only frustrating part of the end of this first short is the tension there when her daughter Carol is like, I invited Santa and Santa came, and you're just like, oh my god, this all falling apart at once. And for the last shot to just be this Santa like putting his hands like on her shoulder, and it kind of fades to black from behind the fireplace. It's like, all right,
Uh-huh.
I wanted like a little bit more of like, I don't want the like blood and guts and gore, but I want there to be a little bit more of like, no, this is going to end poorly for you.
Yes.
Which is a bit of a bummer. Um, we do move next to Reflection of Death. Um,
This is my least favorite one.
Oh no, really?
Uh-huh.
I kind of like this one. Um, this is the one where a guy is running away from his wife and kids with the lady, and they're in the car, and he's fallen asleep,
Uh-huh.
and oh no, there's a car, skirt, and then the camera tumbling while she's
I
screaming at like peeking the
credit
microphone.
where it's due. Absolute magnificent work on the Matchbox car going through the fence. It's
Yes.
only shown for about 5
Yeah.
frames, and I was like, "That's a Matchbox car that I just watched." Hot
Yeah.
Wheels for my UK fans.
Yep.
Like that's one of those cars that went through the fence, but it's quick enough where you can get away with it. So like,
Yeah.
good job on them for like doing that quick little snap cut to here's a car through a fence, quick turn back, screaming,
Mhm.
spinny camera.
Well, and I think one of the funniest things in this entire movie for me is they roll down the hill, like it cuts to black, and then it cuts to that's where the first person stuff starts for him, which we'll cover here in a second. But I love that the car is just engulfed in flames, and I was like, oh, that okay. This seems like a way bigger crash than I was thinking.
Uh-huh.
Because this
Well,
thing is just all
here's
the way on fire.
here is the thing. We are viewing this from a 2025 perspective where car safety is paramount
True.
to the point where, hey, thanks EU for introducing a rule that says if you don't have knobs and dials in your car, you ain't getting the highest
Yes.
safety rating
Thank you so
anymore.
much.
Thank you.
I love you, EU.
Um,
For that.
but like, this is the thing that we are looking at from.
Yeah.
We went around at the time when like you put the car in the gear at the wrong time and the car would explode. Like, you know what I mean?
That's right. No, you could just get a Cybertruck if you want that. You can just leave it out in the rain.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And what's really interesting is watching this in 2025. I knew as soon as this short changed from to first person, I'm like, something happened to how he looks. And then you run into like one person after another that's just like, wow, oh my god. It's like,
It was the
okay.
Bloom and Rage thing that we were all expecting, and it just went
Yes.
the opposite direction to Bloom and Rage.
Yep. And it's like that's very much a thing of like we have seen enough of these things where they're gonna look in a mirror and be like, my god, what happened to me? And I don't really the scene where he's like going from place to place and everybody's like, oh my god, this guy is horrible. That stuff isn't really that great. Him going to his
The ex-mistress who is blind.
yeah, the ex-mistress who's like, you can't be Carl. He died 2 years ago. And I was like, oh man, come on. And then of course she's blind. I was like, oh man, come on. I do love they don't hang on the shot of him looking down at the mirrored table and seeing
No.
you just see it and it switches back to him waking up in the car and realizing it's a time loop. And I was like, all right, that's pretty good. Like that's a pretty good time loop and a pretty good concept for a short like this because that's about the exact amount of time you can get out of that specific idea and then realize like,
Yes.
oh, this sucks. This time loop is garbage.
Oh yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. I think this Reflection of Death story, I think, is executed really, really well.
Yeah.
And like you said, the gray face shot where it's like again, it's like 5-6 frames of him screaming at his own reflection, and that's it. And then it cuts
And
away.
then it hard cuts to
I
him
think
waking
that-
up in the car again. Like that's real good.
Yeah, I think all of that is incredible. I think his performance sucks. I think
Yep.
the mistress's performance sucks.
Yep.
And deliberately or not deliberately, he is the biggest a-hole on the face of the planet.
He's the like he's the worst.
He's like the worst kind of human.
And like he still does it he still leaves after his kids are just like, "Oh, Daddy, I love you so much," and he's like, "Yeah, anyways, bye."
Uh-huh.
And I'm just like,
He says
"Jeez."
goodbye instead of good night,
Yeah, and
and
I'm
it's
like,
just like,
"Oh,
come
jeez."
on,
And
bro.
his wife is like, "Oh, you gonna call me when you get there?" And he's like, "Yeah, I don't know, probably not, loser." And I'm just like, Jesus
Uh-huh.
Christ, bro, God.
I hate him so much. And maybe that is a point for this short story,
Hmm. Yeah, just
but the
making you hate
hatred
him
is
immediately.
real,
Of just like,
bro.
dang man, you got a
Yes.
pretty okay.
Also, we did forget to mention that this came from like a series of comic book stories,
Yeah,
which
these
was
are all
introduced
from
at the
the.
beginning.
Yeah, these are all from these three
The Haunt of
related.
Fear and Tales of the Crypt and the Vault of Horror.
Yeah, these are all like three related British kind of 50s horror comic things, and they're really just lifting them from those, which is how you should do it if you're going to do an anthology thing of like we're going to take these short comics
Uh-huh.
and move them over. Next one here is Poetic Justice. This is the
Which this has the best name of all of them, I
yeah.
think. Like the name for this is the best. And I apologize to the husband who left his wife and two kids in the previous story. You're not the worst human. This
Right.
guy is the worst human.
Yeah, this is the one where the local kind-hearted
This is my
trash
favorite, by
man.
the way.
Uh, what's up?
This is my favorite one.
Is this your? Yeah, I don't blame you. This is Peter Cushing as the
Uh-huh. Didn't know who
the
he...
the
I
bin
know the
man.
name, but I couldn't have told you who he was in this until
Right.
I looked up afterwards, and I was like,
It's like, oh, that's
that would be
why
why
that
this
character
performance
is
is
so
just so
good.
phenomenal.
Yeah, and this is basically like one guy who takes issue with the local
It's
trash
class
guy,
warfare.
bullies him relentlessly, in
Uh-huh.
just the worst ways of like, well, his dogs are annoying, so
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna act like their dogs ripped up his neighbor's prized rose
Prize
garden,
winning roses.
and then
Uh-huh.
the police sergeant is going to take the dogs away. People are going to write this is so heartbreaking. People write him Valentine's Day letters that are basically encouraging him to do terrible stuff to himself in
Uh-huh.
rhyme, and I'm like, this is just. And it's so interesting to see how the garbage trash fire human at the center of the story turns the whole town against the garbage
Uh-huh.
guy for really no reason. Like this kind of stark.
Other than the fact that this working class guy lives over the road from
Right.
a fancy family,
And
essentially.
they think he has to be dirty because he's a trash guy.
Uh-huh.
He's refurbishing toys and giving them away to kids. So of course they have to be like diseased and dangerous because they're coming from the trash. Like all of
Uh-huh.
these
And what are his real
assumptions.
intentions with the children? Is
Exactly.
one of the nastiest lines.
I love to hate most of this because it's this pearl clutching like won't anyone think of the children of like someone just being like was he really like having a little party with a bunch of finger sandwiches and stuff. What's this guy really doing with the children? And seeing that montage of all these moms being like, you can't talk to him anymore. He's the worst. Don't talk to him anymore, and
Uh-huh.
turning the whole small town against him. I really
And all bro did wrong was have a little seance with his wife. Like,
right,
that's literally the only thing he did wrong.
and it just said danger. She wrote
Yeah.
danger. I I really admire the shot when the evil guy finds the trash guy after he has uh, followed the directions of the Valentine's Day cards, where it just
Uh-huh.
the frame just stays on his feet, and like there are the toys in his workshop all around. I really like that it's like, no, we don't have to show you what happened. You know the
Uh-huh.
whole thing was building up to this.
Yeah. And even like when they first go in the house, like, wait, this place is spotless.
Yeah,
Like,
his
it is
dad is just like, this place is cleaner
super
than our place
spotless.
is. Like, what do you?
And like the worst part of this was like I felt like the dad was gonna be a force for good at the start of this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because the dad's like, listen, I made him a couple of offers for his house. He said no. He's lived in the house all of his life. It's where his wife died. That's where he wants to die.
Yeah.
so be it.
Yeah.
He owns it
Leave him
free and
alone.
clear. Nothing we could do about it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the first time James, the worst human garbage known to man,
Yep.
does something, the dad isn't involved, and then like by the third time the dad's speaking with the council to be like, hey, wouldn't it be much better if we got a young person on the back of that garbage truck, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, save yourself a bit of money with the retirement plan of this old guy who's
It's
worked
the
for you for 50
worst,
years.
man. Oh, it's the
And
worst.
it's like, oh, you're just as bad as your son.
Right,
You're
like you
just
weren't the voice of
one
reason.
of those people.
You just wanted to hop in when it was convenient for you. I thought that's where that was going to end, and I was surprised when the next scene is like, a year ago, I need to burn these Valentine's cards. It was exactly a year ago, and he pops out of his grave to exact his revenge with a rhyme of his own. The shot of him behind James was really good. Of like, okay, you did some real good makeup work on this one. Like, it wasn't like the gray face from the previous one. This one was like, okay, that's a pretty gnarly looking
rotten
dude.
corpse.
Yeah, and then having the heart folded up in the paper at the end was pretty. And then like, unfortunately, the worst reaction shot of just like, and like.
Yeah, overacting.
Yeah,
silent movie acting, one might say.
Exactly.
Expecting a title card to come up with, oh no.
Yeah.
Right when he starts like emoting.
Yeah. Next one is "Wish You Were Here," which has one of the more interesting intros, with the guy just being like, "Hey man, why am I here?" Like, all these other people are looking pretty upset about what they may do when they leave here. I didn't even realize I was coming here. I just kind of was called here when I was driving by. So like, what's the deal? And I was like, okay, let me show you. I don't like this one. This is the monkey's paw. Have you heard of the monkey's paw? The monkey's paw. Have you heard of the story of the monkey?
Yes.
Like, yes, I like in 2025 we can say
we know what it is.
Yes, we've heard of the monkey's paw. In 1972, potentially less
Probably
likely.
not. I mean, you make the reference often enough where the monkey's paw curls one finger down that everyone who listens to this show probably knows that reference.
Yeah, exactly. This one, it's so stereotypically a monkey's paw tale of like, I want to be rich and lots of money. Oh my God, my husband who had a very big insurance plan. Oh, especially for an accident. I'm so rich. And then like, the thing that I didn't mind it for the majority of the time until they deliver the coffin to their home, which, okay. And then
that's used to be a big thing. That used to be your view, especially in the UK.
Oh, you're viewing wake sort of thing.
Yes, that would happen at your home.
Oh, okay. I do love the like mortuary staff who have the very stark makeup on.
Stars of 2 seasons ago Ghost, you mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like that sort of thing. And then them being like, he didn't die in the accident. He died of a heart attack right before the crash. And I was like, oh my God, okay, here we go.
Well then why is she getting the full insurance?
Yeah, exactly. Like, well, and then like, of course she's like, I want him right before he was from the accident. And then in like the dumbest series, he wakes up, oh, his veins are full of embalming fluid. It's burning him from the inside out. I'm going to cut him with a katana. It's like, what are we doing here?
Yes.
And then like that quick shot of like,
it's probably the most cheeseball one of the lot of them, I would say.
And it's the one that gets the closest to being the grossest, where they show his like opened up torso and it's just like chicken parts on the inside, and I'm like, okay, like you tried to go there, but I think the whole thing just kind of falls apart completely.
Also, why is he at the crypt if he is technically alive?
Right. Like I don't the whole thing just kind of falls apart. I think it's a bit of a bummer. And then we get the last one here, Blind Alleys, talking about a garbage human being, Major William Rogers. Don't worry, he's definitely Major William Rogers. Becomes a new director for a home of the blind and just manages to completely abuse every single man in this place. There's a lot of them, and then taking that money for himself in incredibly obvious and terrible ways.
It's capitalism gone correctly according to capitalism.
Correct. Right. Like like his sort of like attitude of just like, what does it matter? You're blind. It's like you can't even see. Like, what do you care? It's
You
just
should be in bed by 8 o'clock because what you can't see anything.
Yeah.
So what does it matter?
Yeah, it's
Go
like,
to bed.
why are you staying up? You can't even see.
In fact, it should be the inverse. They're more
Right.
likely to do things at nighttime because that's when everything's quiet and everyone
Right.
else has gone away.
Right. Some fairly solid, very fast talking acting from the Major William Rogers. Some really good simmering anger
I
from the
hate
kind
him
of like
so much.
main blind guy. I really liked his performance of just like, especially when he's just like when the one guy freezes to death, essentially, and that shot of him just saying like,
George McGee,
yes,
by the way,
I
is
love
the
that.
main blind guy, and Nigel Patrick is the major.
There you go. I love that shot of him just saying like, so be it. Just like you made this bed, man. Like we're gonna mess you up. And
Like it's also worth mentioning like the way this story is told, because he's like he's an army officer who's taking over this place. That's why you have to make sure you refer to him as Major.
right.
The fact that he also is maybe not so much the 70s, probably actually still the 70s, but this was originally from like 1955, so
Right.
World War II time frame.
Yep.
The fact that he's a major means he's an officer, which means he's a rich toff who didn't get in the front lines. He went to
Yep.
officer school and then got himself a dog.
This
who
like
is a gorgeous dog.
Yeah, this like luxury German Shepherd that has been trained incredibly well, who is eating better and living better than the blind guys that live in this building. And I really like the rest of this. Like the first half of this short, I think it is solid. I really like the rest of this because you know exactly what's going to happen. They are starving that dog so that it will eat the major. Like that's very clearly, and it's when they start building this contraption, I'm like, okay, maybe I don't know where this is going because I really don't know what's happening at this point. And they have this big, super long, extended like sawing and moving and putting this thing together, and I'm like, what? What could you possibly be doing? And then there's that incredibly long scene where they finally let him out, and he's going through this like chicken wire, almost like maze thing, and then he goes to that short kind of razor blade hallway, and I'm like, okay, this doesn't seem bad enough. So where are we going to get to the bad part? And then when he makes it all the way to the dog's door, you see that little rope on the lock just start pulling, and the dog comes out, and he sprints back towards that hallway, and that's where it cuts to black. And I'm like, okay, that was a pretty solid ending.
He stumbles back towards that hallway.
Yeah, the razor blade hallway.
And then like he's about to try and run through it as fast as he can, and then the blind guy turns the lights off on him.
That's
right.
right.
The word.
Yep.
It's
so
good.
Yeah, I don't think this probably isn't my favorite one. I think that's still Poetic Justice, but that one is pretty good. I think if I have any criticism, I think it's a little too long. I think there's some stuff you can kind of snip here and there to make it a little bit more punchy. But I think it's pretty solid. And then after that we get the short finale, which is basically like, hey man, I'm just kidding.
You're all
That's not
dead.
how you're gonna die. That's how you did die. You all are the worst. Here's a door to hell. See you later. And then the like
Uh-huh.
turning to the camera, sort of like, perhaps you, doodle-doo,
Uh-huh.
doodle-doo-doo, that sort of thing. What did you think of Tales from the Crypt here?
I liked it, but there was I could see the future inspirations because
Yeah,
like that razor blade hallway, that slaps of saw to me.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
like, oh, literally my first note as soon as I saw it was, hey, this is Saw. Saw,
Well,
Saw learned from this.
and especially him going through and getting only a handful of cuts and just being like, "Whew, all right, I made it through that. Surely nothing wrong. Well, nope's got to go back through it. Oh boy,
Uh-huh.
that sort of rug pull.
Yes. I think they were all really well done. Like you said, like it's the I'm going to sound like an old man here, but it's the old school mentality of less is more. Like you
Yeah.
show a lot less because you can't do as much as you
Hmm.
can these days with everything that we've got like for this kind of movie. Like we don't have the realistic gore. We don't have the budget to do CGI car crashes. So you just throw a
Right.
little model off like a train kit, you know?
Well, in like when I was watching Blind Alleys, especially, I was thinking of if you were making that short in 2025, there'd be a shot from the side of him walking like sidling through that thing, and the razor blade would be like a millimeter from his eyeball, and I'm just like, you don't need that. It
Mission
sucks to
Impossible 2, the knife moment.
exactly like it sucks already. Like you don't need to go all the way into it. You're just like, oh boy, yeah, razor blades. Oh God, okay,
Uh-huh.
yeah. Um, I
It's surprisingly fun, and you pointed out to me yesterday as well. 90 minutes,
Yep.
back to front. Let's
In and
go.
out. Yep, we're telling them. Um, I'm with you there. I think the highs are really high. Like I think Poetic Justice, I agree, is probably the best one out of this.
And,
Um, and
and
the
not knowing
lows.
who Peter Cushing was, and like
Mhm.
learning later that he was the garbage guy, I was like, that's why the performance is just spectacular. Because
Yep.
he's like renowned, like
Yeah. He
British royalty when it comes to like acting.
yeah, a dude who's in everything and kills it in everything, like that sort of.
Uh-huh.
Um, but I think the lows aren't super low. I think if you look at like Reflection of Death, it's certainly not the strongest, but there's some good ideas there. Like Wish You Were
Yes.
Here, it's not the strongest, but and it's a little bit racist, but like you can kind of see in 72 of like, oh, the monkey's paw. Oh wow, there is a you got exactly what you wished for, that sort of thing.
Uh-huh. And like the thing as well that we are aware of, is a lot of these are tropish, but a lot of these are also probably responsible for the tropes.
Exactly, right.
Like
You got to look
there's
at it of
something that,
it being 50 years ago and
uh-huh.
realizing that like,
Like,
oh,
yes, as soon as they separated the dog and the major, I was like, that guy's getting eaten.
yeah.
But
And
you know, would that be as obvious to someone who doesn't have like the X Files or Supernatural or
right.
all of these other things in their lexicon of history of torture kind of situation?
Right.
Like
And I
for the time, I can see it being heartbreaking and groundbreaking too.
right. And I think that's why Poetic Justice stands out for me is that that's an everlasting story of like a neighborhood busybody who doesn't like somebody because they judged a book by its cover is still
Uh-huh.
incredibly appropriate in 2025 and still shockingly
Probably
common.
the most appropriate these days out of
Right.
all of them.
Yeah,
I literally used the term gentrify in my notes. I was like, oh,
exactly.
hey, this guy wants to gentrify the neighborhood.
Yeah,
Who would have thunk it?
100%. Like you can still see that happening here in 2025 pretty readily in a way that's sort of like, oh man, that's a bummer. Jesus. Okay. Um
Uh-huh.
so yeah, I liked it. I was a little bit disappointed that in the end the Crypt Keeper when he said like, "Hey, you're in hell cuz you're all garbage people," wasn't the HBO puppet. because I thought that would be the moment of like, oh, okay, the real Crypt Keeper, like takes off the monk robes and is sort of doing the thing. But I understand why that didn't happen. But I liked it. I thought it was really solid. But I think, I was trying to stay cognizant of the Seinfeld problem the whole time of like, yeah, we're seeing this stuff being telegraphed from a mile away because we've seen 50 years of homages and other horror movies and Simpsons episodes and all of these other ones where it's like, oh, okay, that's just, you guys were just doing that. Okay, cool. And that sort of thing. So yeah, I thought it was pretty solid. Let's do the ratings here. Rotten Tomatoes, 90% on the tomato meter with 20 reviews. Most of those are recent ones for sort of obvious reasons. We didn't have the internet in 72. 69% on the popcorn meter. IMDb has this at a 6.8 out of 10 for 14,000 ratings, and Letterboxd has this at a 3.4 out of 5. I'm probably, again, on Letterboxd, I'm probably around that like 3 to 3.5 of like, I had a good time. It was fun. It was super snappy. Like that was, like we said, 90 minutes in and out. You're good and you're done. But I think I'd hesitate to do anything above and beyond that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm honestly probably about the same. Really fun, really quick and easy watch was the thing that shocked me the most.
Yep.
Like, it didn't feel like a long 90 minutes, but it didn't feel like a slow 90 minutes either. Like, it was
Right.
a nice, punchy in and out kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. All right, that's our first spooky anthology film for the season. Next episode, we have a much more modern one that maybe we will be revisiting. So hopefully you will join us for that. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. We'll see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.